Hello everyone. Today I'm going to go over how I make my own universal remotes digitally for Home Assistant. The easiest part of this is making the actual remote, and we're going to use the picture elements card. So what I did here on my GitHub page, which I'll link below, is I made you a little cheat sheet where I've already gone through all the effort of positioning everything to where it will end up looking like this. It's really cool because depending on whether or not you have a Roku or LG TV or Samsung TV, you can create scripts or shell commands to do these features. So we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so what we're going to assume here is that you've already been to the GitHub link that's in the description of my video. You've already downloaded this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use old school paint. You can use any tool you want, online tool or whatever. And then you can use my sample icons here. And we'll go ahead and redo the Disney Plus one, just so you guys can see how I actually do it. Yes, you can use Photoshop, you can use whatever you want, but I just like to keep things simple if possible. It's probably going to need to be way smaller, but you gotta start from somewhere. There we go. It looks like it's pretty close. Alright, so now we got our Disney Plus in here. And if you want to go ahead and update your other ones, you can, or you can just use different ones altogether. But what I would not do is relocate things on here, because in the sample code that I've already provided for you here, I've already done the hard parts for you in positioning everything. So now that we have the remote, let's go ahead and save it. And then what we're going to do now is you're going to actually move it and put that remote in a place where Home Assistant can grab it. So I already have my Home Assistant connected via Samba. So I'm just going to copy this remote. Then we're going to put it in the www, which is also known as the local. So now that we have our remote in storage, and that remote's essentially just an image, we're going to create the card. So we're going to look for the picture elements card, which is this one. We're going to do show code editor. Now, this is why earlier I said it's very important that you don't modify the locations of the stuff in there very much, because I've already done a lot of the hard work for you. All you have to do here is change that to where it actually is. And you see I actually have everything named, that way you know where everything is. So this is the Roku portion of this video. Now the default code that I gave you is already linked to shell commands I use. And what I'm going to do also in my GitHub on this page is I'm going to provide you with a shellcommands.yaml file to save you the time. So all you really need to do to make this work for the Roku remote, which is probably one of the easiest ones, is make sure they have a static IP address. That way you can just use this template and just replace this, and then you'll have all these commands. So in order to do that is you'll go to your YAML editor, and in your configuration file you can either do it how I have it, where I have shell command listed and then I tell it to store shell commands here. So in my YAML directory, because that's where it says to go, under system, that's where it says to go, and there's shell commands. And then you will paste that code that I gave you into here, and then you'll restart your Home Assistant. Once you restart your Home Assistant, these shell commands will become available to select. So now if we'll go here, and we'll go here, you'll see shell command living room plex. And it's called that because that's what I called it here. So the next one we're going to do is LG. So you'll notice that in the GitHub, I provide you with a link to LG webOS integration. And that's important because now what we're going to be doing is, for example, my TV in my bedroom and my living room TV, even though I primarily use the Roku in my living room, are both LG webOS TVs. So now what we're going to do is, and with Roku's, we create shell commands because that's what their API dictates. But since we have a built-in one where we can use generic commands for these LG TVs, that's what we're going to do. And you can do all sorts of cool things with them, notify it or whatever. But this is where it gets kind of cool because you have source lists, and that's how we're going to make our remote. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use developer tools. We're going to open that up in a new tab. Go to states. And now we're going to look for our TV. And then look at that. The cool thing about it is they give you almost sort of a cheat sheet in a way. See, now we have all of our source lists, and that becomes important in a minute because now what we're going to do is we're going to create scripts. So we're going to go to settings, then automations and scenes, click on scripts. We're going to create a new one. I think it's called LG Web. There we go. And we're going to click on LG webOS TV button. And they even give you a little bit of a helper here. So we're going to select Able's TV because that's the one we're working on. And since they're giving us a helper here, so it's kind of cool. And if we go back to our remote, which is here, you're going to see that we need left, right, up, down, asterisk, home, power, whatever. The power button is going to be different, but we'll go over that later. And then as far as these commands go, which are all these. So let's go back to what we're doing on. So on his TV, what we're going to do first is we're going to do the left. And it's really that simple. Just make sure that you, since we're going to have a lot of them, I would make sure that you put them in their own. So in my case, I'm going to call it LG Able's TV. I want to give it a nice little TV icon. And I forgot to name it. So I'm just going to call it LG Able's TV. And then left. Save, but another step I would take too, just to make it easier, is I would go ahead and rename this too. So LG Able's TV left. All right, and then now once we have that, it becomes very easy because now you can just duplicate it. And then now we do the command of right. So now what we're going to do is, now we have these two samples, we're also going to do one for the source. The source is going to be, I think it's called change, I think it's literally called change source. Yeah, so media player select source. So we're going to add the target, which again is Able's TV. And then that's where this came in. We now have this source list. So we'll do one for Plex. And it is literally that easy. So we're going to save it as LG Able's TV Plex. And just like I do before, is I always just try to make these scripts like human readable. That way, whenever we go back, we set these up. And I just realized that I need to actually duplicate, save, move to view. This enables room. And now, since we named them in a human readable way, we just did the Plex one. So we're going to go and find the one where I have Plex in here, which is right here. Now, all we're going to do is look for Able's TV Plex. And then now, you select that button and it turns on Plex in his room. And you'll follow that same scheme for all of them. So that's why it's important to me to name the scripts. Otherwise, you'll have a whole bunch of numbers here. So we'll go ahead and do the left and right because we've already made those ones. Then Able's TV right. Then now you just continue the process. Now, a tricky thing about these LG TVs is there's not like a simple turn on button. I believe the documentation recommends wake on LAN, but let's go confirm. So wake on LAN. So that's what we'll do. So we will go to settings, automations and scenes, scripts. Wake on LAN. And this is where you're going to have to go to your router to get that. So I will do that now. We're going to paste that MAC address in, hit save, and you name it and whatever. Then you'll go back and you'll put it over the power button. Another one I guess I'll show you is the play pause, because most TVs have a separate one for play and pause, and LG is no different. Go to the here. We will duplicate it. And yep, play and pause are separate. So we're going to do one for play. And then we're going to duplicate this one. Make it pause. So what we're going to do here essentially is we're going to create an action, and then we're going to create an if statement. So the condition will be if the Able's TV is playing and that button's hit, then what it's going to do is we are going to pause. Otherwise, we're going to hit play. That way we can have it in one button. So we will save this one as Able's TV. Play pause. Save. And just for a little more clarity is if it's playing and you hit the button, then you want to pause. Otherwise you want to hit play. And the reason we have to do it that way is because we just have the one button here just for simplicity. Now I'm back to trying to get my YouTube channel going again, so I hope this provided some clarity to people of how I make my universal remotes. And since I have different TVs all throughout my house, they're all done differently. In my living room, as I showed you before, we have the shell commands. And for my bedroom, I have an LG TV, and this one has an LG TV. In my other son's room, he has a Samsung TV, so you would just do the equivalent for whatever the Samsung documentation says to do. I hope you'd enjoyed, and please like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.